Woodrow Wilson's 14 points.
Open conveyance peace, openly arrived at, after which there shall be no private international understanding of any kind, but diplomacy shall proceed always frankly and in the public view, meaning no more secret agreements. Absolute freedom of navigation upon the seas, outside territorial waters, alike in peace and in war, except as the seas may be closed in whole or in part by international actions of the enforcement of international conveyance, meaning free navigation of all seas. The removal so far as possible of all economic barriers and establishment of equality of trade conditions among all the nations consenting to the peace and associating themselves for its maintenance, meaning an end to all economic barriers between countries. Adequate guarantees given and taken that national armaments will be reduced to the lowest point consistent with domestic safety, meaning countries to reduce weapon numbers. A free, open-minded, and absolutely impartial adjustment of all colonial claims based upon a strict observance of the principle that in determining all such questions of sovereignty in the interests of the populations concerned must have equal weight with the equitable claims of the government whose title is to be determined, meaning all decisions regarding the colony should be impartial. The evacuation of all Russian territory and such a settlement of all questions affecting Russia will secure the best and freest cooperation of all other nations of the world in obtaining her an unhampered and unembarrassed opportunity for the independent determination of her own political development in national policy, and assure her a sincere welcome into the society of free nations under institutions of her own choosing, and more than a welcome assistance also of very kind that she may need and may herself desire. The treatment according to Russia by her sister nations in the months will to come will be the acid test of their goodwill, of the comprehensions of her need as distinguished from their own interest, and of the intelligent and unselfish sympathy, meaning the German army is to be removed from Russia. Russia should be left to the development of her own political setup. Belgium, the whole world will agree it must evacuate and restore without any attempt to limit the sovereignty which she enjoys in common with all other free nations. No other single act will serve the restore and confidence among all the nations and laws which they have themselves set and determined for the government in their other relations with another. Without this healing act, the whole structure and validity of the international law is forever impaired, meaning Belgium should be independent once again like before the war. All French territory should be freed and the invaded portions restored with the wrong done to France by Persia in 1871 in the matter of Alsace-Lorraine, which has unsettled the peace of the war of nearly 50 years, should be righted, in order that peace may once be more be made secure in interest of all, meaning France should be fully liberated and allowed to recover Alsace-Lorraine. A readjustment of frontiers of Italy should be effected among clearly recognizable lines of nationality, meaning all Italians are to be allowed to live in Italy. Italy's borders are to among clearly recognizable lines of nationality. The peoples of Austria-Hungary, whose place among the nations were wished to see safeguarded and assured, should be accorded with the freest opportunity and autonomous development, meaning self-determination should be allowed for all those living in Austria-Hungary. Romania, Siberia, and Montenegro should be evacuated, occupied territories restored, Siberia accorded free and secure access to the sea, and the relations of the several Balkan states to one another, determining by friendly counseling among historical establishment lines of allegiance and nationality, and international guarantees of the political and economical independence and territorial integrity of the several Balkan states should be entered into, meaning self-determination and guarantees of the independence should be allowed for the Balkan states. Turkish proportions of the present Ottoman Empire should be assured and secure sovereignty, but the other nationalities which are now under Turkish rule should be assured an undoubtable security of life and an absolute unmolested opportunity of autonomous development, and the Dardanelles should be permanently opened as a free passage to the ships and commerce of all nations under international guarantees, meaning the Turkish people should be governed by the Turkish government. Non-Turks in the old Turkish Empire should be governed by themselves. An independent Polish state should be erected, which should include the territories inhabited by insubordinately Polish public populations, which should be assured of free and secure access to the seas, and whose political and economic independence and territorial integrity should be guaranteed by international covenant, meaning an independent Poland should be created, which should have access to the sea. A general association of nations must be formed under specific conveyance of the purpose of affording mutual guarantees of political independence and territorial integrity to great and small states alike, meaning a League of Nations should be set up to guarantee the political and territorial independence of all states. Wilson's 14 points were designed to undermine the Central Powers and help with the world peace. He also helped with territorial issues. Wilson's 14 points helped ensure the nation's security and world peace. He advocated equal trade conditions, arms reductions, and national sovereignty for former colonies. He guaranteed political independence and territorial integrity for the states.